Less than a decade ago, China had high hopes for soccer success. The country's president, Xi Jinping, was often pictured playing soccer and watching youth matches, while state media highlighted his lifelong love of the sport. Schools were ordered to introduce soccer into their curriculums, and billions of dollars were earmarked for the construction of tens of thousands of fields. Major companies rushed to invest in professional teams, both at home and abroad, then stocked them with imported players, whatever the cost. There was even talk of bringing the World Cup to China, with some in Beijing daring to dream of winning it. However, China's soccer dream has since hit a major roadblock. The expensive recruits have left, top teams have disappeared with alarming regularity, and the national team shows little sign of improvement. Even some of the top officials charged with leading China's soccer revolution have been detained amid allegations of corruption. The hopes were really high, said Liu Dongfeng, a professor at the School of Economics and Management at the Shanghai University of Sport, and that is also why the disappointment is so big. So what derailed China's ambitious soccer plan, especially given the country's track record of dominating Olympic sports and winning piles of medals? Some point to the global pandemic and economic downturn, which certainly didn't help matters. Others blame the lack of truly world-class talent, as well as bad deals and whispers of corruption. There's also the nagging national inability to succeed in team sports. Despite these obstacles, China's 50-point plan for soccer, released in 2015, initially showed great promise. It included concrete targets and lofty goals, such as introducing soccer to tens of millions of children through the national school curriculum and setting up 50,000 soccer schools by 2025. To support Xi's ambitions, Chinese investors poured billions of dollars into the game, acquiring whole or partial stakes in European soccer teams, signing up as Fédération Internationale Football Association sponsors, and investing in top domestic teams. However, this sudden burst of spending spooked Chinese regulators, who belatedly imposed restraints on the industry to try to prevent it from overheating. But even those moves failed to prevent spectacular failures, such as the sudden disappearance of Jiangsu Suning FC in early 2021, just months after winning the Super League title. Other teams followed suit, such as Guangzhou FC, which was relegated after its big spending owner, the property developer Evergrande, tumbled into a financial crisis. The men's national team's current ranking is almost exactly the same position it held when the soccer reform plan was passed 8 years ago, and its most recent World Cup qualifying campaign was a humbling failure. China finished 5th out of 6 teams in its qualifying pool for the 2022 tournament in Qatar, with a defeat to Vietnam on Chinese New Year marking a particularly low point. Traditionally, China has enjoyed more success in women's soccer, having hosted the Fédération Internationale Football Association's first Women's World Championship in 1991 and reaching the final 8 years later. While China will make its 3rd straight trip to the Women's World Cup in 2023, it has not advanced past the quarterfinals since 1999 and is not expected to contend for the trophy this year. The money that flowed from Chinese companies to foreign entities in the early years of the boom, which quickly made China a major source of sponsorship income for teams, leagues, and federations around the world, has been replaced by money from the Gulf, and particularly from Saudi Arabia and Qatar, which now have the profile that China once sought. Despite the failures and setbacks, the Chinese government remains committed to developing soccer in the country, with the hopes of someday realizing its great soccer dream. How do you feel about this? Make sure to leave your opinions in the comments, like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe.